Hello and welcome to the 12th installment of my grading of all of the base game cards. If you want insight into the grading system, check out the description or click on the link in the top right hand corner to get to the first video, where I explain it all. But let's get started. EO's Chasma National Park is weird. It grants like 5 different things, none of them strong or special enough to justify playing this card on their own. But if you need a combination of these things, then EO's Chasma can be very good. The high price and mid-game temperature requirement make it so that the MC prod is only a nice side bonus to this card, and should never be the primary reason to play it. The building tag is almost always irrelevant for builder at that point, but means that EOS Chasma can be a good late game steal dump. The plant tag can be super useful for all the possible combos and sometimes justifies playing this card just for NRA. Then there are the 3 instant plants. These are really interesting, as 3 are an amount that you cannot get by simply placing an ocean or other tile. If that is enough for a conversion, it can make the difference to make this card worthwhile. And lastly, this card also has the potential to score you either 1 or 2 points, depending on if you have an animal card down. You see, these bonuses help you all in different ways and different stages of the game. In the mid game, when you still profit from the EMC prod, you will likely not have an animal down. Do you wait for viral enhancers or do you play it early and try to get Gardener with it? Again, this card can be really good if you need multiple things that it grants, but also underwhelming if you don't. The range probably goes from B to D tier, so I'd rank it in C tier. Equatorial Magnetizer is a noob trap. It feels cool to play Power Prod cards and then use Equatorial Magnetizer to convert Power Prod into TR. But this is incredibly inefficient. The cheapest basic way to get power is by playing the card Power Plant, which costs 7 MC total if bought in the draft. Let's imagine you could play that card over and over again. You'd pay 18 MC for the first TR, 25 MC for 2 steps, 32 MC for 3 steps. That's basically the cost of Demos down just for 3 measly TR steps. It just isn't worth it. The only situation in which Equatorial Magnetizer is actually good is when you play super efficient power prod cards like Quantum Extractor or Mass Converter and have no use for the heat in the future, either because you want to slow down the game or the temperature is already maxed out. Then Equatorial Magnetizer can be worth it in the mid to late game to get a few TR steps, especially if you can pay for it with steel. I'd still rank it in F tier though. The situations in which it is somewhat useful are just too rare. Microbes are not very strong in the base game. Extreme Cold Fungus is one of the only cards that can set up a good and efficient microbe combo if you have the right receiving card for it. If you're playing Inventrix or some greeneries were placed really early, ECF can work exceptionally well together with GHG producing bacteria, for example. It can also combo really well with regolith eaters, however that's really expensive and there are less oxygen than temperature steps. The most reliable combinations are probably with ants, especially if you can also eat the microbes of one of your opponents, or with decomposers. Also, keep in mind that you can start putting microbes on one card and switch to another one later down the line. If you have ECF, decomposers and psychrophiles, you can start with the ECF psychro combo and switch to decomposers later. All in all, if you have a good combo card for ECF, it can score you a lot of points. But these situations are rare and you're often playing microbe cards that would be considered weak without ECF. In total, it's a C tier card for me. It can be threatening, but only in some very specific situations. Farming on land seems to be much worse than farming underwater. That's the notion you get when comparing the card Farming to its much more powerful brother, Kelp Farming. But is this true? The short answer is yes, and the long answer, well, here we go. First of all, farming comes online super late in the game, such that A, you only get to play it in the last gen most of the time, and B, it's mostly irrelevant for insects and NRA, 2 of the strongest combo cards in the game, as well as the milestones Ecologist and Diversifier. Also, it only yields 2 plant prod instead of 3, so even in cases where the heat is racing up like crazy, it offers less total plants than kelp farming. Granted, it also has 1 more point on the card, which in and of itself makes it a better last gen play than kelp farming most of the time. It's a pretty good card for the last generation in general. The EMC prod is useless except for banker and tie-breaking purposes, but the plant prod together with the instant plants often lets you place one additional greenery, and if you can place it next to a city, this means farming yields 4 points for 16 plus 3. That's a pretty good rate and doesn't even include the combo potential with cards like Ecozone and Decomposers. I often pick up farming in the mid-game for exactly this purpose, and then only play it if it truly gets me another greenery. All in all, it's a pretty good late-game card, super good if the heat races up fast, and absolutely bonkers together with ecology experts, of course. B tier for me, it ticks all the boxes of that tier. Fish is the second 1-point animal I rate in the series, and in my opinion, itself and birds, which I already rated as an A tier card in episode 5, are fighting for the spot as the best one. Fish usually comes down a bit earlier and costs 1 less MC. However, it doesn't offer the absolutely devastating -2 plant prod, just 1. As I already explained, when talking about birds, 1-point animals are incredibly valuable. There are only 4 of them in the base game, and they can be used as vessels to receive animals from cards like Large Convoy or Imported Hydrogen, for absolutely crazy point payoffs. For this, the card's normal scoring potential, and other combos due to the animal tag, I will put fish in the A tier as well. If it's better than birds or worse, you have to decide for yourself. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments whether you agree with my ratings, or if not, how you would have rated them differently. Also, if you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and consider subscribing. And lastly, please check out my Twitch and my Twitter. See you in the next video.